understanding?
Yep,
Okay, so I'll get a note from the lawyer saying I can do it.
or us or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
You'll get you'll get a letter from the town,
Yeah.
town office when it's ready to go.
We
Yeah.
think it's fine, but we just have to go through Laura and make sure it's all good.
Sure. Okay, now assuming that that's correct, I would be willing to pay for the town portion of the road from Route 175 to my property, which I would be paving with the binder course. I would be willing to do the paving portion of the town road to whatever town spec there is. I believe, I'm not sure, but what is it, 2 inches or 1.5 inches and 1 inch or something like that, binder and finish paving. I'd be willing to pay for that portion of it, as long as the town does the subgrading.
I think originally, I'm
Brings
sorry.
it up to standards, the town standards, which is their responsibility, which should be their responsibility.
I think initially that was an issue for Laura, but we will double check and see why and if it's possible.
It is an issue for her. She's very leery of it, but let's talk to her again, Jim, on that and see how it goes. The only way it would even be considered, I guess, is if Mike and the town paved the road according to town specs and you paid us back type thing. But I don't know if that would be legal or right or whatever. So I can't say that, so. But it's something we can look at again, for sure.
Yeah, the reason, I don't really need it done. It's just that coming in off of a paved Route 175 to a dirt section that's maybe 100 feet long and then coming to pavement again. It just doesn't look right. And it's also harder to plow. You get, if you're plowing, the town plows it, you're going to be catching on the asphalt.
I know Public Works had some issues with it too, so we have to talk to them. But I think the Class 6 road probably is fine, and we'll work on that between this meeting and the next one, talk to Laura and come up with some answers for you on that one.
Okay, the contractor that I used for pricing was Blacktop out of Littleton. And
Okay.
they gave me a price to do all, each one. But if we don't do them at the same time, it's going to increase the cost because.
Sure. Sure, they got to mobilize twice. Yep.
Exactly. It's a $500 difference or so.
Yep.
Exactly.
Well, I would think we could have that answer by the next meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Do you two agree? Or Cheryl, Gil?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep,
we
that's
can
fine.
have an answer one way or the other by the next meeting.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Thanks, Jim. Now, next we're on to Bill Waterhouse, and he had some questions about the tax deeding process. I'm going to let Bill speak, and Cheryl has done some research into this, so we'll see how it goes here.
Evening, folks.
Hi, Bill.
Good evening.
Yes. I will stick to the wording of my question or my request as it went to Judy and I trust to you folks. But I'd like to just share with you why I'm bringing this up. If I look back at the taxes and the delinquency rate, the delinquencies seem to be going up, and there's not a whole lot that we can do about that. It's as though we're turning into a credit card company or a bank that has fantastic rates. We're loaning money to folks at 14%. Folks can't, and that's without an application, that's without a credit score, or without an application. So I'm concerned that the town, the community, the oneness is being eroded slightly. And as I mentioned, there does not seem to be much the town can do. However, the only definitive action that we have is after a certain period of delinquencies, the town, the select board, will be offered a tax deed from the tax collector. And in the interest of keeping the procedure of discussion surrounding that, which I suspect take place in non-public meetings, and to assure that from case to case, from year to year, and from select board to select board, the proceedings are consistent and the decisions that are reached are free of bias. So my question is if the board could just share or give us an overview of the process involved during those non-public sessions. I'm not looking for specifics, but just what is it that guides you? What is it that provides the consistency? And is there a checklist that you need to go through, regulations or RSAs before you can make those decisions? Thank you.
Sure. Well, I will do my best to answer with the information that I have, Bill, your question. Once all of the delinquency notices and the liens and all of that are processed by the tax collector, you're correct. The tax collector presents supporting documentation to the select board for review. Sometime in May and June, the select board meets in non-public and we determine whether to accept the deeds offered by the tax collector or sign a deed waiver. These determinations are usually based on whether the parcel that's being presented would be at the best interest of the town. And if a parcel would not be accepted by the town, it would typically be because of liability risks or the ownership of the property would involve undesirable obligations. And some of those situations would be like an unsettled estate. Taxes on the parcel are unpaid because the owner has passed away and there's no family or other interested parties or persons willing to come forward and administer the estate because the owner did not create a will or any estate plan. Also, if the property consists of buildings that are buildings in poor condition, the liability and the cost of the town to take care of that would be an issue. Other situations, junkyards, again, it would be the cost to the town to clear or clean up any of that property. And then things like condos or mobile homes that are on land that's owned by an association or anything that involves association dues or fees, the town would not take that on either because it has a monthly fee associated to it. As far as a checklist, I have not sat in. Last year, the governor issued an emergency order 25, which allowed for the liening processes to continue in the state of New Hampshire, but it discontinued any tax deeding until the state of emergency is over or he declares it over. So no tax deeds were processed last year. I suspect unless the governor reverses the state of order or state of emergency prior to May, we'll be in a similar situation this year. Did I miss anything? Scott?
No, just
Gil?
one follow-up question, if I may, and that is maybe guideline and checklist were not the accurate words. are there specifics, definitions or requirements listed anywhere that say you can hold a property, you can refuse to accept the deed for the town if in fact there's the possibility of a brownfield site on it?
Mhm.
Are there any specifics, or is it rather vague? And it's a tremendous step to take property from somebody. I realize that, and therefore there has to be something that ensures for the town, as well as the unfortunate landowners, that the process is consistent and the decisions are made within the same definitions.
Well, parameters, yeah. I don't know if this is going to answer your question or not, but if the town were to take over a piece of property, what we would do, since we're a nonprofit, would be to sell that piece of property, take out what is owed to us in taxes, and the rest of the money goes back to the original owner. Does that help, Bill?
I do understand that, and I thank you for reinforcing that. Perhaps I have to work on my wording, because, again, from year to year and board to board, interpretation of these generalities, is there anything that keeps them consistent? Or are they actually within the guidelines that the state puts out? Let's do the one
I
that you
understand what
said.
you're saying. Yeah. Is there like a guideline list that's across, not just within the town, but like Lincoln would have the same process and Thornton would have the same process? Is there a process that selectmen have to follow for deeding? Is that
Yes,
okay?
yes. If
All right.
if I leave
A
the
governed
planet
process.
and I do not leave a will, you're right, that creates a difficult situation. But how long will the town go along with that? What is the procedure there?
Okay. I'm gonna have to do a little more research, Bill, to wrap my head around it. So I apologize.
Can you think of a
and
specific instance, Bill, that we could refer to?
let me, before Cheryl does anything, let me work on clarity of my vocabulary so that I hone in on it. And then Cheryl, I don't want, you folks all have plenty to do, but I will get back to you in the next day or two and be very specific in what it is that I'm looking for.
One thing we have done in the past, Bill, if there's a hardship, and sometimes we will get a request to say forgive the interest. What we have done in the past is forgiven half of that interest to hardship cases, and that's sort of a precedent we have set. Now, I don't know if that's in writing anywhere, but I know it's something we've done a couple of times in my tenure here.
And are those documented? Do the folks make requests in writing so that it
Yes.
can be? They do.
Yes, they generally make that request in writing. Usually it's to forgive all of it, but what we have done is forgiven half of it for a given year, not for the whole thing if it's 3 years, but for a given year.
Thank you for the time, and yes, I have a little homework. Thank you.
Okay.
Looks like
Thanks,
we
Bill.
do. Looks like we do too, Bill. So it's all good. All right, next we have the Barrettos at 10 Bull Moose Road. They'd like to have a setback waiver. So we'll turn it over to those folks, maybe explain what they'd like to do. And
All right. Hey, the town of Woodstock.
You
Sorry
got two
about that.
computers or something too close, I think. Yeah.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah, I'm Jake Belanger. I think I know a few of you guys. We are building a garage in the town, or on 10 Bull Moose Road, and where the garage currently lies, it's a 28 by 30 garage, and it encroaches on the setback, the 30-foot setback the town of Woodstock has up on Sundance, or up on Bull Moose Road. And where this garage would lie in the new setback would be far enough away from any snowbanks that the town of Woodstock creates during the winter plowing that road. And that end of Bull Moose Road is landlocked. It's two private owners at the end of the cul-de-sac there. So there wouldn't be any more room for future expansion there of a town road through the route right away. So, and also too, if we had to move the garage due to the setback, there is room to do it, but it would be a lot more in terms of excavation work. There is the elevation kind of drops off quite a bit as you move further away from the driveway. I don't know if you guys have seen the drawings I submitted. But yeah, as you move further away from the driveway, the elevation drops off significantly. So not saying it can't be done, but it definitely drives the cost of construction up quite a bit the further we move away from there. And again, like I said, there would be plenty of room still for the town of Woodstock to put any snowbanks, even on winter like we had 3 winters ago. But yeah, and you guys are more than welcome to come and take a look at it before making a decision. Could meet you guys there, and Dave and Karen are usually home. They're good people. So
I think I've talked to Mike at Public Works and so, but he did mention he feels as though you do have enough room if needed to build the garage with the existing setbacks. I think the town's really reluctant to make exceptions to those setbacks because there's so few rules in the town of Woodstock. Everyone's very reluctant to grant any waivers to those conditions. I know I run into them personally a lot over the years, and I've never gotten a waiver. So, but it doesn't mean it can't happen. But I think we would probably like to go up there and look at it and talk to you folks and see what's going on before we make any decision either way. So,
okay.
Do you have it
I was under the impression that it may, on a heavy snow season, that some of these plowed up snow may end up causing some kind of injury or issue to the building. It was close enough to the road so that if you did have to plow it, and there was an exceptionally high bank that it possibly could.
no, I think the thing to do is get Mike and all of us up there next week or two to look at it. I wouldn't even think about personally voting for it at all if it wasn't a dead end road. I wouldn't even consider it. But I mean, where it's a dead end road with just 2 houses on it, I personally would look at it for sure. But
Yeah, it certainly bears looking at for sure. Before
again, it's hard because we just have so few rules in the town of Woodstock. We don't like to really make waivers to them if we can not do it, honestly. So
Yeah, understandably. You guys are more than welcome to come up whenever you guys have time.
when is a good time for your parents? Are they there or whatever? During most of the time, or
Yeah, Dave and Karen are here. Yeah, almost every day. So
pretty much full time? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, just as long as we have some contact information, so when we can free up some time, we can kind of coordinate everything.
What we have
Yeah.
to do is, it's gonna have to be, if we're all going, we have to make it a public meeting so anybody could show up, and it's outside so we can socially distance and all that type of thing. So we just want to make sure we're doing the right thing and not rush into anything here, either way, so.
If it's not inconvenient, Jake, can you put 4 stakes in the ground where the corners of the building would be?
Yep.
Great idea, great idea.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Okay, and what was the reason again, Jake, for not being able to attach it to the home? Which would move it out of harm's way?
Well, tying into the existing roof line of the house. That end is an eve end of the house. So the way that the garage is facing, it would create like a really big valley. And even if we were to move it closer to, it would create a drainage issue, or it could potentially create a drainage issue because of how close it would be to the house. Too, they have a full basement downstairs. So I'm not saying a French drain there would alleviate that type of drainage. But again, it's just the types of things add up and drive up the price. of
Cost
construction.
effective, yeah, cost
Yeah.
effective, I get that.
Yep.
But yeah, you guys are more than welcome to come up, and I can drop off my contact info the next day at the town hall.
We'll do it in the next week or so, so we can get it, move things along one way or the other for you.
Okay, yeah, like I said, I'll drop off my contact info tomorrow. And yeah, whenever you guys want to give me a call, I'll shoot up there.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
No problem. Okay. Next, we have the proposed license agreement between Fadden's General Store and the town to use that property over the next year to get in and out of their sugar orchard. I've read the document. I don't know if we want to share it, or I can kind of review what's in it. Basically, it's letting them use that road for up to 1 year to get in and out of the sugar orchard, with them being responsible for all maintenance to the road and carrying insurance on anybody accessing or using the road. Is that basically?
Yeah. I think it also states that any proposed repairs or any repairs that are necessary need to be approved by the town, the public works director also.
Before it happens? Yep,
Correct.
And I assume that's renewable on an annual basis.
right.
Yep. I'd make
I
a
would,
motion.
I would actually like to read it myself, ultimately, unless you feel that another 2 weeks, to wait before we vote on it would be either unfair or really not necessary.
It's in your
Judy.
packet, Joe.
Yeah,
It
is
is.
it possible if we postpone it tonight, where we've addressed it in a selectmen's meeting, that we can sign it? We can make a motion to sign it in
On
Friday's
Friday.
Workshop.
Friday's
Yep.
workshop. That
Okay,
sounds
would
good.
that
You
give you
can
enough time,
table.
Gil?
Yeah, we'll
That's
table
fine.
it till Friday's workshop.
Okay,
Just review it and then vote. Tabled. All right.
Okay, I have
I made a motion to table it
then.
till Friday.
All right, second, Gil?
yeah, well, one more question though. And this would be transferable to any piece of property that the town owns that we would allow this to occur.
I
Like
think
if there was
it's a
another
case-
piece of property and somebody wanted to do the same thing.
I think it's a
this
case
would
by
be-
case basis. It depends
Case by
on,
case.
it depends who would affect, how would it impact the town, how would it impact the neighbors? I mean, it would be a case by case basis. This doesn't impact any neighbors or anything.
That's true.
It's just a piece of really pretty, unusable piece of property that they're just going over.
Yeah. That's fine.
But take a look and we'll talk about it on Friday then.
Okay.
All right, so are we all a vote to table it till Friday? All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
All right. If that needs to be voted on.
Yeah, no, definitely does. And Laura tweaked it and took care, we talked to Fadden's and try to come up with an agreement that everybody could live with, so, for the year. Next, we have Selectman Reardon on the summer camp program. I was happy to see they were advertising on Facebook for counselors, so.
Right. Now, I sat down and spoke with Tara this week just to catch up on what the plans are for summer camp. And so I recommended that we could just bring it to this meeting tonight to run it by you guys. They're looking at 2 sessions. One would run July 6th to July 30th, and then session 2 would run August 2nd to August 27th. And that's similar to years past. So it'd be basically 8 weeks. The fees would be $150 per month for the registration fee. They're going to have 2 locations. They're going to be able to have 36 kids at each location, which is about what they've had in the past. They'd run a younger version at the Kank, which would be 1st grade through 4th grade. And then adventure camp would be 5th grade to about 14 years old. It would run Monday through Fridays, 8 to 4. In the past, they ran 9 to 3, and people would like buy on to either drop your kids off early or pick your kids up later. This year, they decided just to go with a set 8 to 4. So if people didn't want to drop their kid off till 9, that's fine, but 8 to 4 is the time that you're paying for.
That's great.
Yeah, it's really great. That they're looking into the possibility of some local field trips, things like local hikes. They have their own vans and stuff that they can socially, they're using them now to transport the kids from the Kank to the after school programs. So they'd be looking at local outdoor trips, possibly some Whale's Tail or Clark's. They're still looking into that and basing that on the guidance that comes out from the governor's office. They have all of where they've been running the after school program. They have all of the COVID protocols and procedures in place already. They'll have all the kids will be scanned before they get there. All of the normal steps. If any child or person develops symptoms, they'll be removed from the situation and sent home. So pretty much it's exciting that they're making this work this year for
That's
folks.
great.
So
They're trying to make it work.
they're trying to make it work.
They're going to make it work this year. That's great.
They're going to make it work.
And
Yep.
we don't,
Well,
none of us know. Yeah, go ahead.
as Cheryl just mentioned, that if somebody does come up with symptoms and he's in a group, does that put everybody else in quarantine?
I would
In the
suspect.
group he was in? Or
I
he or
would
she?
suspect it would probably be a lot like the school does it now. If it's a class, if it's a class, someone in a classroom that's caught COVID, then that class tends to have to quarantine.
Right. So, and who knows what the guidance will be by then,
Yeah, and the nice
Right.
thing though is with summer camp, these kids are outside. They're they have to wear their masks. They have plenty of area to kind of space themselves out. They've set up pods. Each kid will have their own pod. So it won't be 36 kids running together. It'll be 6 kids in a pod or 10
So
kids in a pod.
there's a good chance you could lose a pod here and there during the summer,
Potentially,
exposure, yeah.
but it wouldn't affect all 70 something
Right.
kids. It would only
Which is-
affect that
which
10.
is smart,
Yep.
Well, that was sort of the direction my question was.
Right.
Yeah, sorry.
Do you wipe out the whole camp at once, right?
Well, wipe out a whole 36, wipe out
Right.
a whole half of it.
Yeah.
Right.
So no, I think it sounds like a great plan. That's exciting for everybody, I think. Not that I have
Okay.
kids anymore, but I know so many people missed it last summer for sure.
Right. Well, she has not released this yet. She's going to wait until after our meeting, and also she needs to wait until after our April 13th vote, as obviously the town's budget funds a portion of this program. So the operational budget,
So we need that budget to pass.
we need that budget to pass.
That's right. Okay, that's great, Joe. Work session updates. I think we're still working on the water, different scenarios. Steve LaFrance is going to join us this Friday at the 1 o'clock meeting. He also has some updates on the on the pump station on Lost River Road. He wants to share with us as well and talk with us about. So we've got 2 or 3 scenarios kind of for the water. So we'll see how that goes. We're beating it to death kind of, but hopefully we'll come up with a good solution. What we've kind of found is that no matter what scenario you pick, there are winners and losers. There's no perfect answer to this. So we're going to come up with the fairest one we possibly can. So
Right.
That's my opinion, but that's what we're going to work on Friday. And that'll lead us right into the, it'll make it pretty easy to go into the sewer rate structure from that. Because once we settle on the water, I think it's going to lead right into the wastewater.
Yeah.
As well. So.
Yep.
Old business.
I do not have anything.
No, okay. Public participation on anything that we've discussed tonight.
Doesn't look like it.
These meetings are getting more and more quiet. Anyway, I know.
Well, they don't cover quite as much as they used to either.
Yeah.
We don't use the word quiet, especially with the police officers in the room.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So, all right. If we don't have any public participation, a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I will second that.
All in favor?
All right,
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Very
night.
good. Thank you.
good night.
Have a great night.
You too.